Hey, Mike, can you hear me?
Okay, thank you. I'm going to call this meeting of the Groveland Conservation Commission for June 14th, 2023 to order. Is there a motion to open the meeting?
So motion.
All in favor? We'll have to take roll calls on all these votes. So Terry,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Mike, yes, Bill?
Yeah,
Okay.
Aye?
yeah. Yes and I, both,
Yippee-yay-yay-ki-yay.
yes.
Okay.
At
So-
least now I know you can hear me.
That's true.
So we do have one member, we may end up having two members on Zoom, just for everybody's notice. All right, so we're going to jump right into the permit and hearings portion of the meeting. So I'll make a motion to begin the hearings portion of the meeting at 7:05 PM.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? No? Terry?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Mike, yes. Bill?
Aye.
Okay. All right, so the first hearing tonight is for 10 Ashcroft Circle. It's a Groveland notice of intent only for a replacement septic system.
They are not prepared to present right now. They had to make a couple changes to their plans per the Board of Health, so they'll be in at the next meeting.
Okay, so we'll
Move to close
just,
the hearing. Or, sorry.
Technically, we can't open it
yeah,
because the notices haven't gone out, so
so we don't have to do
It didn't
anything.
open.
we need
Okay.
to, when we open the public hearing portion, we should do it item by item.
Yeah, I
Because
know,
it
but
gets messy.
we've
when we-
always done it this way.
I know we have. I know, it's just,
It's too many more motions, but, okay. Yes, we'll do that. All right. So, next is 173 King Street. Motion to open the hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. It's 175, right?
175, sorry. 175 King Street. Terry,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
yes, Bill?
Aye.
Okay, 175 King Street.
Scanlon, here on behalf of the homeowner, Robert Kempton, at 175 King Street. The property, the property is located, if you're heading into Georgetown, or toward Georgetown on King Street, it's on the right-hand side. The existing dwelling is a three-bedroom dwelling that has a septic system that is in failure. We have wetlands located at the rear of the property, shown in green, with the 50-foot and 100-foot setback. We have a well in the front yard, located right in this area here. The existing system, like I said, is in failure, consists of a septic tank and a leach field in the backyard. We're proposing to replace it with a new system, including a septic tank, a pump chamber, and a leaching field utilizing Presby EnviroSeptic pipes. It is an alternative technology, so it should get better effluent cleaning. The system at the closest point is 68 feet from the wetlands. The system is also 100 feet or 102 feet from the well in the front yard. And so we basically placed it as close as we could to the house, maintaining the well setback. And that leaves us with setback to 68 feet.
How much further does the grading go?
The grading,
Or I guess the disturbed
Right in here.
area,
the disturbed area is probably another 10 feet.
okay. So you think still outside of 50?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
What are you proposing for erosion controls?
Let's see. We're proposing siltation sock.
Okay.
Right there. And it's shown here in the red,
Yep.
running along and then up to the fence.
So you're only dropping like 2 feet to the wetlands, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so there's not.
It's a very level
Not much
fence.
slope
You
there
could
at
get
all.
up 10 inches of rain and it would still probably not,
Work its way to the
yeah,
wetlands.
okay.
Yep.
Any other questions from anyone?
How much materials, is this going to be done, probably not in a day, right? So are you going to store some materials there, or are you going to pull the old leach field out, put the
They'll
new one
probably
in?
store some top and subsoil. Most of the material, there's quite a significant amount of fill and
Right.
top and sub. They won't be storing it all on site, it would just be what they want to replace, the topsoil after
Right.
construction. The rest of the material would be taken out. I don't expect there to be much in the way of stockpiling on site.
Is there a location for that?
Well, it's tight in the back. I would think really the only place you could store would be right on the,
Where it says install bypass vent, that area?
exactly.
Okay.
Which is
Yep,
pretty
yep,
much
yep, yep, yep. No, it looks good.
right at the 100-foot.
Right. And still within the erosion control, so.
Correct.
And not in their front yard?
Correct.
Okay.
Almost it.
Okay,
I'm fine.
you all set, Bill?
Yep, I'm okay.
All right. So I'll make a motion to approve the replacement septic system at 175 King Street as submitted with erosion controls as marked on the plan.
Second?
Oh, can I,
Sure.
there was one revision, and that was just changing the, I referred to it as 1C and 2C for soils. It's actually the B soil and the C soil.
Oh, okay. B instead of one.
You are forgiven. Commission forgives you.
It's a typo.
So I assume the Board of Health will get the updated plan?
Yes, they're
Okay.
meeting tomorrow.
All right, any other comments? Hearing none, then we'll vote. Terry?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Mike, yes. Bill?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
You want me to move
Yes.
to open this one?
Yes.
There's Tom
So-
as the acting tall guy. Gonna,
Mike is going to recuse himself because this is my daughter's home.
move to open the hearing for 119 Center Street regarding a replacement roof, a GRDA.
I will second that. Roll call.
Roll call, all in favor, say aye.
Terry.
Aye. Terry, aye.
Tom, aye. Bill?
Bill.
Aye.
Okay.
All right, what's going on?
Is the applicant here? Okay.
The commission recognizes Michael Dempsey.
Yes, as I said, this is my daughter and son-in-law's home, and the house is approximately, yes, thanks.
House is approximately 60 feet or so from the stream. And so they are replacing their roof, and because it's so close to the stream, they need a permit.
There you go.
And it's just the roof?
Yeah,
Nothing
that's it.
else? And my assumption would be it's a one-day tear-off, they'll have a dumpster
Yes.
there,
Yes.
the whole thing?
Going right into a dumpster, or, yeah, okay.
Yeah, asphalt
Do
shingles.
you foresee any need for any erosion control?
It's pretty
Or
flat.
or debris flying into the,
It shouldn't be, you know, I
it should
think,
go off the roof and onto the ground and into
Yes.
the dumpster?
right, and there's no slope into the stream.
Okay.
The stream bank is pretty right at the edge, and there's no slope down
Yep.
into it.
Yep.
Bill, do you have any questions?
Not a question, just, you know, when they're tearing this stuff off and throwing it off, it, you know, it can helicopter away, so it'd just be more, you know, we'd want to make sure it was cleaned up.
I'm still picking nails out of the last roof that was replaced at my house 12 years ago, so, yes.
Okay, any other discussion?
I don't see anything,
You want to make a motion?
Because
okay,
they-
make a motion.
they typically use tarps to send the stuff down, don't they? I mean, that's what I'm.
Sorry,
Lot- lot-
Hang on, Bill, we're going to turn your volume up a little bit,
Okay.
and then, can you repeat that, please?
Just, they typically use tarps to sort of slide this stuff down a lot of times into the dumpster, so. Again, I just get concerned if anything helicopters away when they're, but this is, and, is it asphalt shingle?
Yes.
Yes, it is, he's
Okay.
saying, yeah.
Okay,
So the assumption, Mike, would be at the end of the day, you guys will walk around, just look for trash, that kind of thing, the way we ask everybody to do. Okay. Okay, anything else?
I've got
Nope.
nothing.
You good?
Move
Okay.
to accept this application for roof replacement,
Negative determination?
negative determination.
Okay. Take it to a vote. Terry?
Aye.
Tom, aye. Bill?
aye.
Unanimous. I hope you took notes, Annie, because I didn't. I said, did you take notes? Because I didn't. Awesome.
Don't worry, Tom, you're being recorded.
I think we've got a new chairman.
Yeah, maybe.
Works here.
Okay, next, 11 Evergreen Lane. So a motion to open the hearing for 11 Evergreen Lane, GRDA for a pool installation.
Second.
Terry, Terry,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Mike, yes, Bill.
Aye.
Okay. So this is 11 Evergreen Lane. Somebody here to talk about it?
I'm here to talk about it.
Oh, you're here to talk
I'm
about
here to
it.
talk about it. So, this is very straightforward. The existing location where the pool they're proposing to put is a gravel, like, patio type area, I guess. There's like a concrete pad, and then it goes into this quite large, this area right here. If you look at the screen, that's all gravel. Right here, there's a shed, and right here is the fence that is along the property. This from around here down pitches this way. So yeah, and they're proposing to put the pool right here. There's no logical impact that I could see while I was out there on site from putting this.
Where are the wetlands?
They're over right here.
And you say it slopes away?
So it kind of banks up from the edge up to honestly the property line, and then from the property line this way it pitches downwards. And there's a fence, like a 6-foot fence, a shed, and then in this gravel area is where the pool would be. So they're gonna excavate out, not the whole gravel area, but this gravel area and put in an in-ground pool.
You confirm 50, 60 feet?
I did, I had to kind of,
You just
if you,
based it off?
yeah, and going out there, if it weren't for my map, going onto the property, you wouldn't know it was there. It feels so separate from the area they're working in.
And you know the edge of the pool, is that like 50?
I'm sorry?
The edge of the pool?
Yeah, that like 60 feet.
That's about 60 feet, and
Yeah.
there's probably going to be some sort of a walkway or something around it, I would assume.
Yeah, so that will be in between where that existing shed is and then the edge of the pool.
Oh, so they're not removing the shed?
I'm sorry, say that one more time, Bill?
The shed is staying?
Yep.
Okay.
So when they say we met with conservation and there is no problem, that means they talked to you?
They talked to me and I said, I see this as something that can happen with
Okay,
going through the process. Yeah.
As a student of the English language, it's interesting to see how things evolve.
Yes.
And if you can't really, the driveway's right here, driveway, you can see the car right there, truck's gonna park right there and just go in and out. It's not like they're gonna be walking over.
Could they move it any further away?
If they did, they'd have to disturb soil. Because where the gravel is right now, it's already kind of disturbed, I guess.
You mean disturb different soil?
I guess, but I mean, when they,
Because it's in-ground pool, right? So they're going to have to excavate, right?
correct, but I mean, if they move it further, they're gonna be doing away with vegetation, which, I mean, it's just grass, but still.
I think we get uncomfortable when things get really close to 50, especially when it's not been, like, really carefully measured.
Okay,
So did they tell you the size of the pool?
I don't remember it off the top of my head. It was in the permit application that they issued to Sam. That's how I got this.
I'd be fine if there was like, here's the maximum size, and here's the closest the work would be to the wetland. I mean, you show it's 59.35 feet based on the map. If you say they're not moving the shed, and if you assume that they're probably going to go a little bit beyond the shed, they're probably going to be over 60 feet away. But
So are you looking for a survey then?
no, I think I'd be, personally,
Tighter,
just,
more rigorous definition, I think.
yeah, like the closest they're going to be is this much, and here's the maximum size of the pool. You know, I mean, to go to the extreme, you know, do they clear out the whole backyard and put in a 200-foot by 200-foot pool? I mean, there's no details.
Okay.
But I guess how do we,
And you're suggesting from the way it's sloped that they
From
won't
going out to the
need erosion
property,
controls?
from going out to the property and looking at it, I can't imagine that putting in a pool there would cause any type of deterioration, further
Putting in the pool or having the pool?
Both.
So backhoes going around there digging stuff up?
If you were to, if
I
you
mean,
were,
I haven't been out there, so I'm not questioning your judgment, I'm just trying to get a feel for the situation.
no, I understand. If you were to go to the site, you would feel as though it's very insulated from the rest of the
The wetlands are.
area, yeah. It feels very insulated.
And Annie, what kind of water body is there? Is there anything running there, or is it just a pond that's stagnant? I mean,
From what I could tell, it was just standing water. She said it dries out sometimes. In the summer, last year with the drought, it dried out, but it didn't look like anything was running.
okay.
If the commission wants to do a site visit, I'm sure that'll be fine. And again, this is why I suggested doing meetings twice a month. So that we don't hold projects up for a month. But if the commission wants to see it, I think the applicant would be fine with that.
Well, considering we don't have information like the size of it and.
No, that's on me. I can get that to you from the building permit. It's just generally, in prior applications, I haven't necessarily provided that and just showed the distance. So that's what I did this time. But if the commission wants to do that moving forward, I certainly can forward the building permit as well.
Yeah, Annie, I think, you haven't had to provide size because a lot of the drawings we get, are architectural or landscape, and they already have that stuff. Pools, we haven't done too many.
I'd be fine finding a negative determination if we could put language in there that restricts it to the gravel area only. But the question is.
Or further away.
Or further away, yeah. The question is, will the pool fit in the gravel area that's already there?
Or further away.
Or further away?
Well, I guess to me, the gravel doesn't mean much to me. That's probably only a couple inches deep, if that, right? I mean, I don't know what its purpose was.
Well, the only reason I say that is just to try and have restrict where the pool's going to go, because right now it's sort of a open-ended. Well,
No, I understand, Tom. But I like the idea of it being further away. Like if it was no further than the house on the other, on that far end.
Well, what if we put language in the approval letter like that says it has to be between the shed and the end of the house? Do you think that would cover it, Annie? Based on the.
I would have to review the building permit again.
Well, I think the first thing we need to decide is, do we want to go look at it? Because it seems like there's a lot of questions about the placement of it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So we can go look at it.
Trying to figure out if there's a way, though, that we can make a decision now with contingencies.
I think it's complicated.
I don't think so, Tom, because, there's a question of where exactly are the wetlands, how far away is it, the size of the pool, could it possibly go further away, and if not, why not, so those kind of questions, it seems to me like I think all of us probably need to go look at it.
Sounds good.
All right?
What are you doing Friday?
Yeah, Friday, we could do Friday.
John?
I'd have to do Friday morning.
I can do
Friday morning's
Friday.
fine.
I can do tomorrow.
Friday morning. What time Friday morning?
9 o'clock?
Let me just check.
Is that okay, Bill?
I'm looking. Yep, that's fine.
All right.
9 o'clock on Friday.
Do you think the homeowner would be amenable to that?
I mean, I'd have to ask.
You'd have to, okay, you don't know, okay.
We're going to need somebody, it'd be preferable if somebody was there to,
To say we want.
Interact with us.
Want one corner here, we.
No, I realize. I just don't know what their availability is.
yeah, so just say, it isn't that we just want to
Okay,
look.
The commission proposes 9 o'clock Friday morning.
Can we
And I
continue?
guess we could continue
We can
the
continue
hearing
the hearing to
the
Friday
site
morning.
visit, right?
No, we
Or no?
can't do
Because you
that.
can't make a vote at a site visit.
So we'll make a motion to continue to our next meeting, with that date to be determined.
Second.
Could we schedule a meeting at Town Hall for 9:30 on Friday?
Or you have to have a certain number of days.
Forget how
We
much-
can't, it would have to be posted, would have had to have been posted
It has to be
this
posted
morning.
48 hours prior, business hours prior, or not business hours, 48 hours prior to excluding Sundays and holidays.
So it would have been this morning, we would have had to do it.
And Monday's a holiday.
Or 8 o'clock on Friday. Kidding.
8 PM, he means.
Oh, okay.
I guess what I'm getting at is, I have no issue coming down to just have a quick
I
meeting
think,
to not push this off another month, is what I'm
no,
getting at.
I think we're going to have to meet on June 28th anyway, so it would only be pushing it off for 2 weeks. That's why I'm saying I motion to continue to the next meeting, whenever that is.
And we're seconded, right?
Yeah, you seconded
Yeah.
it.
Discussion.
Okay, any further discussion on that? So tentatively, 9 AM on Friday at 11 Evergreen Lane. Everybody knows where that is, off of King Street. Terry,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Mike, yes, Bill?
Aye.
Okay.
Fred has joined.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fred.
Oh, we got Fred on, too. Hi, Fred.
How are ya?
All right, thanks for joining us.
Another precinct heard from.
Okay. The next item on this is beaver permits. So in our information packet, there's a there's a copy of the 2 recent beaver permits that I issued. So normally what happens with these is people request them and I issue them because they're pretty straightforward. If they're not straightforward, I'll go look at it, but these particular 2 have been going on every year for quite a while. And then we just take a ratifying vote because usually the timeline is more an issue if we had to wait. So I'll make a motion to accept the 2 beaver permits issued May 24th and June 5th to the town of West Newbury.
Second.
Any discussion? Terry,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Mike, yes. Bill,
Aye.
Fred,
Hi,
thank you.
anytime.
Okay, and I'll make a motion to close the hearing portion of the meeting and any hearings that we didn't motion to close.
Second.
Any discussion on that? Terry,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Mike, yes. Bill?
Aye.
And
Aye.
Fred, thank you. All right. Next item on the agenda is potential project discussion on 172 King Street. And I think there's some information on this in your packet. Yes, there is some, about a page, little over a page of what the applicant wants to do and a site plan from my map on there. So just take a minute to review what that says, and then we can open it up for comments and discussion here with the applicants. Okay. So are the owners here? Oh, okay, hi. Good.
Hey.
So do you want to start off by telling us anything about this? We've read your explanation here. Here's a microphone.
So I'm Justin Guimond. This is my wife Ida. We moved to Groveland about 3 weeks ago. The sellers at 172 King Street left a few projects for us. One of that being potential to finish the driveway. So currently existing there is highway asphalt that they brought in to lay down. It's a horseshoe driveway that wraps around the left-hand side of the house all the way to the right part that funnels down into a two-car garage. There's a slope at the bottom of that driveway that we'd like to finish as well. So as I mentioned, there's basically leftover asphalt and loose gravel. The driveway pitches quite a bit down to the lower part of the driveway where the two-car garage doors are. So we're looking to pave it, but we understand that there was some difficulty in having an enforcement lifted against the prior seller to us because the asphalt that they laid down was pretty close to the wetlands. So we're proposing that we would cut off the paving to the left-hand corner of the front part of the house so that water runoff does not run into the wetlands because we're pretty close on that side with the well. So we spoke with a paver. We've had somebody come out to do like an assessment for us. He assured us that he'd be able to slope the paving away from the wetlands so that there'd be no water runoff there. The front of the driveway is very flat, so that's kind of like the mini horseshoe part of the driveway. But the other side where there's the slope that leads down to the bottom of the driveway, there would be potential for maybe some runoff there. But the pooling of water is consistent with basically just at the bottom of the driveway there. So we asked them about maybe some potential drainage options so that we don't get standing water in that driveway and we don't have anything running off to the right-hand side of the house. He suggested that he would dig and put in like a loose gravel pit, so it would be a natural drainage system. So there'd be no reason for any wet well system or any piping. We wouldn't have to disturb the ground. We were potentially looking to get this done in the fall, because if we don't get it in before the winter, we will never get up that hill. Also, kind of what I alluded to in the letter is that on all the properties that surround us on King Street, they are all paved as well. So if we left it, or we had to leave it as is, I think that ultimately that gravel would become a disaster if we had to plow. I think it would end up on the street. It would probably run off into other areas of the property. So we're really trying to see if we can get that done as soon as possible. The second item that we wanted to propose was to try to finish off some of the backyard. So they cleared out of a lot of trees in the area, and the left-hand side, if you're facing the back of the property, slopes off gradually. So we're looking to have, before the paving is done, we're looking to have a landscaper come in and fill it with some backfill, some loam, and then potentially a sprinkler system and hydro seed. So we talked to him about the wetland issues so that we would be able to hopefully maybe stay far enough of a way to not have any runoff there. When the sellers sold it to us and did some property work back there, they put up a lot of stone structure pretty much right on our property line. So the other thing too is, and before we kind of push this forward, is I've already talked to a surveyor to potentially come out and just obviously mark our property lines. And then we wanted to discuss with you as well as, is this existing plot plan that we see, I mean, I guess would that be enough, or we would probably need to redo that as well, just so that there'd be some comfort that, we're maintaining a certain distance from the wetlands. And lastly, I mentioned in the letter as well is that we have no plans to cut any trees or disturb any of the actual wooded area. This would all be in the open space that they've already preliminary kind of put down some hydro seed to, I guess, close the sale with us. So really no nothing we're adding on, I guess is the last point that I wanted to make there.
Well, we never got a chance to look at this when it was being worked on before, so I'm going to recommend we take a look. You probably heard us say we're going to be wandering around Friday morning. When are you going to be around then to guide us if we add that to the mystery tour?
Yeah, probably
Does that sound
like
like a-
9:30 or so, yeah, because it's near, it's not that far away.
Yeah. You think half an hour is enough for the first? Okay,
I'll be home all day, so whatever works for you.
sounds good. We'll see you then. If you even put like markers out and stuff, just to give us, make it a little bit easier to visualize, then that's one less thing to do when we're there.
Absolutely. Yeah, and like, just one other thing too, I just want to mention real quick, I forgot to, though, where the well is that we're also trying to avoid that as well. So on the side of the house, it doesn't sit too far between the house and the wetlands. So I mentioned this to my wife Ida as well, is like, we don't really want to be paving in that section either. It just, if we ever have to get to it, it would create a mess, and just, I feel like paving over the top of it, it's just really not necessary. So I think that you'll see what our plans are, and some of that existing asphalt that was put down, I guess, without proper permission, we're maybe potentially looking to maybe fill that with some loam, maybe some shrubbery down the line, or maybe just seed over it. We don't have that in the finances right now, but we would not be looking to finish any of that asphalt that was really encroaching upon the wetlands. We wanted to,
Throw a few stakes in, we'll
okay,
walk around.
all right, thank you.
Thanks.
Annie, I got a question. So do you think, what kind of permit do you think they're going to have to file for?
At a minimum, a Groveland notice of intent.
Do you think they may have to file a full notice of intent? Maybe, right?
Potentially for the fill, I think it depends how much it ends up being. But I would need to, you're getting your property staked out, correct? Or surveyed, okay.
I've already spoke with Toda. They're in Georgetown.
Yep, I'm familiar.
They give me an estimate in a few days.
Yeah, so if you just look at the MyMap, which obviously, as I always say, is not a survey, and you mark it up, the area around where there's that kind of grubby area you're looking to fill to the side of this is about 60 feet, call it. So like this area that looks like shrubby and grubby right now is the area that they're looking to bring in fill, because the prior owners had torn everything out of it, but didn't bring in a quality loam to put down and and like seed and everything, so nothing's really growing there. So again, so call it maybe closer to 50 feet, because that's more in the middle, but yeah,
So
that's why I
You've
say
been
at a
out
minimum
there,
of
but you won't
Groveland.
be there this Friday, right?
Nope.
Okay.
So that's something to take into consideration on their plans, if they can avoid 50 feet or minimize what's going on in 50 feet, then they don't have to go with a full notice of intent. Otherwise,
Yeah, I mean, at that point, though, then they would just have nice lawn and then grubby yard that's not growing. It would look,
Well, give it a couple of years.
I think there's also a different if you're putting 6 inches or 3 inches over it versus 3 feet.
that's exactly why I say
Yeah, so I
it
think when
depends
we-
on the intensity of it.
right, so what's
We look at it.
considered fill versus what's considered topsoil, right?
Right.
So what we're trying to do is avoid you having to deal with the state unless you want the experience.
Well, it's more expensive, definitely, because they probably have to hire a
It's both
wetland
ways.
scientist to help them through it.
Just, I don't know if you guys, maybe Annie made you guys aware too, but there is, since basically most of your property is going to be within the 100 feet, there is a seasonal restriction from November 1st to April 15th every year to do work. So bear that in mind if you're ever doing anything.
You really want to finish,
Yeah, you want to finish by November 1st. And
well,
you don't. you don't-
October 31st.
October 31st, yeah.
Yeah, we were aiming for September.
Even better.
Right, even better. I'm
Aim
just,
for September, settle for October, rather than aim for October and then plead.
because it can get, especially excavation work, can get very expensive. It's on a per-day fee. So unless you have to do that, you probably don't want to do that.
Okay.
All right.
Any other questions for us?
I don't think so, but definitely see you guys on Friday.
Yeah,
Great.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we've got it. Is that your letter?
Yes.
Yeah, we got that. You
We
can
have it. Yep, thank you.
save it for the archives.
Okay. Next is an update on the enforcement and actions at One Manor Drive.
Sure, sure.
Here, I'll give you a mic.
I'll give him. You have mine.
Thank you. Members of the commission, my name is Paul Bergman. My company, Bergman and Associates, put this plan together. With me... Sorry to interrupt you. Thanks. With me tonight are representatives from Arrow Point Properties, the property owner, and Taylor Construction, the contractor, all three in the front row. A few weeks ago, or several weeks ago, Michael and Annie met with one of my civil engineers and myself.
You know what, I'm going to have to recuse, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to recuse myself, because,
Oh, you're in the back. Yep, he's in the butter.
Oh. Okay. So several weeks ago, Annie and Michael met one of our civil engineers and myself out at the property to discuss the project. Since then, quite a bit has happened. We've done it, we had Michael Seecamp set 31 wetland flags at the property, and the plan in back of Annie is, as you drive in on Manor Drive, the flags start on your right, and then they go counterclockwise all the way around to flag number 31. The buildings are numbered really strangely, but the building that had the fire that everybody seems to know about, as you're driving into the property, it's the fourth one. So it's kind of situated right above Annie. There are 7 buildings, according to Mike Seecamp's flags. The first 7 on your right-hand side, as you drive in Manor Drive and you're going counterclockwise, the first 7 are within buffer zone of either the intermittent stream or BVW. Let's see. There was, at the time that Michael and Annie visited us out at the property, there was a sump pump line out of Building 4 out into the driveway, and they asked that that be removed, and subsequently it was, and the sump line is now, and it's shown on the drawing, it goes out towards the stream in between the 3rd and the 4th building, and thank you, and it has a sock around it so that the sump water just slowly filters out of that sock and makes its way into the stream. There's a temporary silt fence in place, also indicated on the drawing in back of the building. This, oh, thank you. Let's see, where was I? So this plan is a result of a actual on-the-ground survey that was done a couple of weeks ago to pick up all the buildings, the wetland flags, random grades, pavement of Manor Drive,
and any other significant structures. Seacamp said that the stream is in fact intermittent. The building that had the fire, what we're calling Building 4, and I want to make clear, this plan is preliminary. There's already a fair amount of work that's gone into it, but there's more work that's going to have to go into this and additional sheets as part of, the NOI that's going to come before you soon. But on the back of the fourth building that had the fire, Arrow Point and Taylor Construction are going to be building brand-new deck balconies that serve the first and second floors of the building. All the buildings are two-floor. So that building is going to have a brand-new deck and stairs on the back of it. The remaining 6 buildings in the buffer zone they all have existing balconies, and they're going to have stairs added to those. And the notice of intent application will have architectural plans for what I just described. Additionally, at the request of Mr. Jocelyn, the building inspector, the fourth building is going to have a fire suppression line. So we're going to cut into Manor Drive and come up under the front lawn into the basement of that building for the new sprinkler system. And part of that excavation is within the buffer zone. That's why it's on the plan. There's not going to be any changes in grading for the work that I've described. The new stairs on the 6 buildings and the balcony and the stairs on building number 4 are all going to have footings, probably some type of Bigfoot assembly, but there's no change in grading. What we're proposing for the sump line, because as I said right now, it's just in a temporary spot where it has that filter sock on the end of it. We're proposing to core a hole in the foundation, the back foundation wall of Building 4, and run the sump line underground back towards the stream, and have a riprap swale for the outfall of the sump line, so that the water, it'll take the energy out of the sump water, and then it'll seep into the stream, similar to what it's doing now with the sock. But it'll be a permanent installation that will be buried. So the only thing you would see if you were walking out back would be the riprap swale right at the edge of the stream. I think that's it.
So, a couple of questions that I've got. So, you've taken care of the, because of the changing where the sump pump is pumping out, you've taken care of the problem where the water was pooling and ending up in the roadway and then flooding down towards the wetlands further towards the entrance to Manor Drive, right? So thank you for taking care of that. And so did you ever figure out if the other buildings have sump pumps or water problems in their basements?
I personally haven't, Michael. All I know is that we're charged with taking care of the one for 4, but I don't know.
Okay. And, did this building always have problems with flooding basement?
I can answer that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm David, one of the owners of the property.
Yep.
As far as we know, we've only had this property for less than 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as we know, that particular building, which is building number 2, as it's addressed, has had water and flooding issues. It's been a problem since we bought it. So as far as the sump pump goes, it was really nothing different. We were just installing a better sump pump because the existing one had failed, and if we hadn't installed a new sump pump, the basement would have flooded and would have ruined about $30,000 worth of equipment. So, to answer your question.
So something happened after the fire and maybe the power to the sump pump stopped working, and then that's why it flooded.
Probably a fair assessment, but couldn't say for certain.
Yeah.
So do you know if any of the other buildings have sump pumps?
Not right now.
None of them do. Are there oil tanks in the bottom of the buildings? So there's no oil at all? It's all?
No, it's all gas.
Gas, okay.
Okay. Do you have any questions, Bill or Fred?
Just on the riprap, we're going right down to the stream?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm proposing. We didn't want to daylight the sump in the lawn because that's going to cause erosion. And as it was a few months ago, the water was washing down Manor Drive and making its way into the wetland up at the north. Annie gave me a laser here. So the water was washing down Manor Drive and then exiting. There's a curb cut right around here, and it was exiting into the same wetland that it would be exiting as if, I mean,
Yeah.
the water comes out here and it's going to be clean. I mean, sorry, Annie. It's basically groundwater. It is groundwater. But the benefit is that it's not washing down the road or anything else. So, as I said earlier, we haven't designed that yet, and that detail will be on our final drawings. But what we're proposing, I'm trying not to hit Annie with this thing. Right there is the sump line, and right there would be the riprap swale, where the sump line daylights. Probably 6-inch riprap up on the top layer and maybe 1.5, 2-inch riprap beneath that, and then filter fabric. So that, as I said earlier, the water comes out of that sump line, the riprap takes the energy out of it, and it goes into the stream. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, no, thank you. And then, I guess, Mike, I would ask, I'm asking you, is it possible to get an assessment of the other buildings? I haven't heard definitively, what the situation is with those. So, under this project, can we ask for that?
Assessment, sir, what do you mean by that?
Well, we've asked about sump pumps and if there were water issues in the other buildings, and I haven't heard a definitive idea or answer. And I know you've only had it for, the owners have only had it for a couple of years, but there's probably maybe some evidence of water, on the walls or something. So I'm asking my chairman if it's possible under this project to get that assessment. Is that a reasonable request?
Yes, I mean, it would make sense to me that somebody would at least go and check the other buildings' basement to see if they have water problems to avoid a future event taking place, right?
Yeah.
So if you can include that information when you file the notice of intent, that'd be great.
So to that end, while we're on the subject of the, I call it Building 4 because, again, I can't remember the random numbers. It's the fourth building on the right. If the commission seems to be okay with the proposed underground sump line and little riprap swale that I've penciled in here, would they probably be okay if we had to do something similar on the other buildings? Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think so, and I think that's really the main reason why we want to know about the status of the other buildings, like I say, to avoid something in the future where we have to have you come out and do the whole thing over again for another building. Any other questions or comments from anyone?
Just to clarify, because I
Sure.
don't know if this is a notice of intent, it's going to be a notice of intent, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys.
Good night, gentlemen.
Good night.
Good night.
Hey, guys, thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Forget that.
You were very.
The next item is the Pentucket Regional School project update and marker discussion. Annie, take it away.
I will let the site superintendent
Oh, okay.
take it away.
How you doing,
Go
guys? Matt Waltmeyer, site super for WT Rich over at the Pentucket project. I think we've all met on a few site walks. So yeah, I think the primary discussion tonight is just the location of the markers over on the Groveland side. I kind of made a quick markup. Not necessarily, I mean, I kind of identified some locations, certainly limited it, but I just kind of wanted to more so identify some of the higher traffic areas around this, around the wetland area. Certainly up for discussion if more want to be added. Originally,
I don't feel like doing them every 20 feet.
originally, I mean, the Groveland order conditions didn't really have a number. We were kind of using the West Newbury, which is every 20 feet, which we thought was a bit excessive. So I know this is kind of just like an open forum of whether you think this is acceptable or if you want to add some more. I was just kind of trying to highlight some of the more visible areas in this on the backside of that football field there where the wetlands come into play.
Those look pretty reasonable to me.
Yeah,
Total
it
of
does.
4.
I can say that I'd like to see 2 more, I guess.
Okay. Where would you like them, Bill?
I would like one right in the corner, on the rounded corner between the high pedestrian traffic adjacent and the parking inlet. So on that corner.
Yep.
And
Oh,
then
where- on the
maybe,
curve?
Yeah.
Inflection?
yeah, right on the curve.
Yep.
And right in the apex of the curve. How's that, Terry? And then maybe one between the one on the right, the parking inlet, and the high vehicular traffic. So maybe somewhere, so right across the street from the other blue one there.
Yeah,
don't
I
know
get what you're saying.
Right on the, where the erosion controls are, or whatever?
Yeah, right where that buffer zone is. We could bump that one closer to the town line and just to take it away from the buffer zone just a little bit, and then split the difference between those two.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I'm sorry, I'm lost.
Sorry.
Where's this one gonna go? I think me and Mike are both lost.
I think.
So he meant one there on the apex, right?
He meant
You meant that apex,
and he's saying.
somewhere around there.
as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're up
So
to-
yeah, you're right. I was just saying we could bump this one a little bit closer just to get some room between the two.
Yeah, do we need one there? I mean,
Like I said.
wetlands here and wetlands there?
I mean, this is a pretty. There's not going to be many people walking down these areas on the other side of the road, but I mean, it certainly wouldn't hurt to put one on that corner.
Yeah. I think it's more for probably the people maintaining the school and,
Yeah,
5 years from now, a new
Yeah,
employee
sure.
doesn't know what's going on, so.
Burying it in snow.
Yeah, no, it's not meant to be a people, directional thing. It's just, I just think we, if we have, hey, we're staking our claim here. This is,
I mean, I intentionally lowballed you, so 6 is okay with me.
no, that's a,
So
you
now
didn't want
what
the
we-
30?
What have we got, a total of 8? 6?
I think, right?
Total of
6.
6.
Do you agree, Bill? It was 6 total?
Yeah, I was just looking for 6. One between the 2 on the left and one between the 2 on the right.
Okay.
Okay.
And then
That's only, that's only because Terry asked me what I wanted. I mean,
Well-
if anybody,
I know how shy you are, Bill, so
yeah.
Made an effort.
And I can carve my name into them and say, you know, that I requested these two particularly.
Well, I hope you can't carve your name into granite.
Oh,
No,
they're not
these are,
That's the
Pressure
second half
treated,
of the
sir.
discussion.
They're requesting pressure treated, correct?
Yeah, so, like, similar to the location, West Newbury, obviously, they give you the option between granite and PT 4x4, so we were gonna make that request to use, similar materials, because on that side of the project, we're gonna be using PT.
I think everybody knows how I feel, and I think the fact that we've cut down the number of markers considerably, I'm not too concerned about the fact that there's a change going from one town line to another. I'm going to need some convincing on giving up granite. I think it's a better look, I think it's more permanent, and I prefer not to make exceptions. If, you know, fewer exceptions you make, the fewer exceptions you have to make.
Sure.
And, you know, we're not, every 20 feet we think is, as you said, excessive.
Yeah.
But permanence is a virtue in this case. Is this a voting thing?
Yeah, well, we should take a vote on it.
It's, really? It's just a discussion?
It's not a hearing.
No, it isn't a hearing, but we want to
More of a
have a
policy.
direction, you know.
Right. So I have a slightly different take. I agree on not doing exceptions. I think in my mind, the big distinction between this and other things is this is a municipal building, so the ability to randomly make changes from owner to owner is diminished. Because it's, you know, change hands every couple of years. I do not think a 4x4 post is enough, though. I would be like a 6x6 or 8x8 if you can get it, or something like that.
Yeah,
But I'm-
4x4.
It's too easy
I could
for a
take
bunch
it
of
out.
high school kids to rip it out of the ground.
Is that what,
Or just hit it with a little bit of a car, and it's
is that
Certainly.
what they're using in West Newbury is 4x4?
Yeah, so,
That might be why they do it every 20 feet. They
Yeah,
figure you
yeah.
lose a couple,
They-
there's still another, a whole bunch still there.
It's like animal species that have a lot of offspring because they ain't all gonna make it.
Right?
it actually doesn't. Just says granite pressure-treated posts or similar materials chosen by the applicant on the West Newbury side. And then the size of, so the 4x4 inch is identified in the Groveland, but that would be granite, but we can certainly up the size of PT.
Just my suggestion. I'm actually, and maybe this should have been brought up a long time ago, I forget all the plans we've looked at, but they're putting a dumpster right on the paving, or a dumpster pad, which is fine. Do you happen to know, are they putting a fence around it or something? If something blows out of the dumpster, is it gonna get caught?
It's
or-
not, there's no fence. So where are you looking?
So it's on this plan, it's right, well, it's right there.
Correct, yep. Yeah, that is just, it's just a curb inlet. There's no permanent fence.
I think we're gonna get more garbage from that going in the wetlands than,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's no worse than when they have a game and if people don't put their trash away, that all blows in too, but.
Well, we could discuss that with them.
After the fact.
Yeah.
Maybe if they lock it, if they put the stuff in and then lock it, maybe it's secure.
It's like the mellow dumpsters with the slope
With the
tops.
lids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Bill, what's your thought on material for these?
I'm 4x4 granite.
You like granite too? And Fred, what do you think, granite or pressure treated?
Sorry, what was that again?
On the markers for the material, do you favor sticking with granite or allowing them to use 6x6 pressure treated?
When do they plan on replacing them?
Wait, you want a maintenance plan too?
I think we know what his answer is.
Yes, right. So it sounds like,
Unless the railroad ties, they're gonna be gone in about a decade.
yeah, I know.
Well, railroad ties, you don't want them by the wetlands anyway.
Oh, I know, they're bad.
Yep.
All right, so Terry, you want to make a motion?
I would like to make a motion that we accept their proposal for 6 wetland marker locations made from not their recommendation, but 4x4 granite as is in our, many of our orders of condition.
Yeah, our standard,
Our standard order condition.
our
Second.
standard setup for markers.
Discussion.
You know, to me, the only reason why we would go with pressure treated is to match what West Newbury is requesting. But West Newbury is really requesting something totally different. They're requesting 20 feet separation
Yeah, it's gonna
between
be-
4x4 markers, which we would never do.
It's going to be a totally different look anyway.
Right.
So
And
let's-
I don't see where the markers on that side affect anything that's going to be on the other side.
Right.
Because they're going to basically have a fence
Yeah,
along that line. We don't have that because we've got roads that are, we're crossing and curves. So,
Plus, it
I
looks a lot
don't think you're not going to notice that it's like, oh, those look so different. I think the wood posts will stop and people will not really even notice the granite unless they come up to them.
yes, and plus there's only 6 of them. There could be,
Right.
bunch more.
30 of them. All right, I think we're ready to vote. Terry,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Mike, yes, Bill,
Aye.
Fred,
Aye.
okay, unanimous. Sorry about that, but
Hey,
But it's only 6.
only 6. I'll take what I can get. And then, the other part of this was just discussing upcoming schedule, and I told Annie over the next few weeks, it'd probably be a good idea to come take a site visit, just because I have kind of, tomorrow's the last day of school, kids are gone, and then I start ripping it up. So we're going to be pulverizing the existing driveway, grading, new granite curb, binder, paving. It's all going to be within, a 6-week span when these kids are gone. So
We're doing Friday at 10:15.
that would work. I don't know. It'd probably be a little better if you came in a couple weeks just to see some. But I mean,
Because they're not starting to tear up the road until Friday, I don't think.
Okay, all right.
Pulverization starts.
Nothing for us to look at.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing.
That's
that
all
you
you had to
really-
say. That's all you had to
Nothing you haven't
say.
already seen, so.
We
If-
trying to be reasonable here.
If we're having a meeting on the 28th again, do we
Yeah.
want to go to the school before the meeting?
yeah, we
So we
could.
can talk about, do you think you'd
Yeah.
you'd be in the thick of stuff at
Oh,
that
yeah,
point?
absolutely. We'll probably be doing binder on the 28th, so. Yeah.
So, just a question, has nothing to do with what we were talking about. I'm just curious, the sidewalks, are those all cement or asphalt?
Sidewalks are concrete.
Concrete, okay, thank you.
The way they're supposed to be.
Right.
Are we walking around up there, or is it thunder?
It's thunder.
It's thunder.
We almost lost power.
I think we did. All the ACs turned on.
Okay, any other further questions or discussion on this?
I think we're done on that
I
one.
think we are set, yes, yes.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Do you want to schedule the site visit now?
Do we want to what?
Schedule the site visit now?
Are we looking at the 28th?
June 28th at 6:30?
How late do you work normally? Probably not 6:30.
4:30.
4:30.
4:30. And whoever can
We're trying to be
go,
reasonable.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
whoever can
I know you
go.
get paid and everything.
I'll throw some stakes out too. at these locations, just so you can kind of get an idea where they're at.
Sounds great.
All right?
So is 4:30 good, or do you want it to be, do you want it at 4?
4:30 will work.
4:30 will
Yeah.
work?
Beats the heck out of 6:30, I think. Where do you have to go when you go home?
Belmont.
Okay, yeah, you,
I'd rather, 4:30 is good.
Okay,
all right.
very good.
All right, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yep.
Okay, the next item is the SD lot along the river. We had tasked Terry and Stephanie to come up with a plan. I passed out here the plan. We don't have it for Bill and Fred to see, but I can describe it anyway. So,
Wasn't it in the,
no, it wasn't in
did
there.
we have it last meeting, sort of like this?
Yeah,
or-
it
We
was in
did,
the
I
last-
just didn't realize that I must have missed the final plan. I didn't,
Can we hold this up to a camera somewhere? You have a camera over
I can-
there?
Half by 11 piece of paper.
Well. Oh, there we go.
Is this, oh, geez, is this Terry and Stephanie's plan?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to
Yeah.
give Stephanie most of the credit for it, because I just wanted a plantation, and she made it a little more natural and more species. But, yes, this is Rev 3, I would say.
Well, I'm going to defer to both you and Stephanie on this one.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good one.
How's that? Oh, your head's gonna block it.
My head?
Which camera are you using?
Never mind.
Okay. Phew.
It's over there, but
Oh.
All right, well, let's not worry about it too much. We could probably have Annie scan it and send it out.
Yeah, well, what I want to do is, I'm going to put a letter together for Mr. Harper, so there's no question about what we're asking. Just take some of the text on here and just put in a letter. And before I send that letter out, I'll send it to you and Stephanie, just to make sure I was correct.
Sounds good.
Thanks for doing that, you guys, or thanks, Stephanie.
She did most of the work.
Okay. Next is an update on the VZ demonstration project. Where is that? Here it is, here it is, here it is. So, as you know, the CPA project for trees has come under the tree project on CPA. Where the heck is it? And so Diane Plantamera has been doing quite a bit of work to get ready to, she already actually had started the project. Work had been done before, but at no cost. But here's what the timeline looks like. So July, the remainder of the trees, this is about a quarter acre of space, it's a little less than 10,000 square feet. So they're going to clear the rest of the trees in July. In August, they'll lay down cardboard on the soil, and then in September, top that off with compost, and leave that until the spring, and then in October, There'll be deer fencing put around the site. And then in December, she's going to be ordering some of the tree saplings to get ready for spring. And then the actual first phase of planting will take place in the spring.
Of 2024?
Yes. So I've been.
What's the cardboard going out?
That's to kill the remaining weeds and other material.
Just
Yeah,
cardboard?
yeah. She's already done that in about a third of the parcel.
Is she looking for free cardboard?
Oh, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Because,
There's a place to bring it up next to Lucille's cottage. There's a tarp with a whole bunch of cardboard underneath it, if you got any cardboard.
Habitat for Humanity pays good money to dispose of cardboard.
Oh, really?
Yes, and there's quite a bit of it between cabinets that arrive in cardboard boxes and hundreds of square feet of flooring that arrives in cardboard boxes.
Yeah.
And siding. Guess what that arrives in?
Cardboard boxes, yes.
So, if they could,
I smell synergy.
I think I can come up with a win-win situation.
Yeah, if you can get it there.
Well, that's the hard part. You've seen my Honda Fit. It is not a big car.
No.
It can take a lot of stuff, but we're talking about, like not quite a semi-full, but it's a U-Haul full.
Where is it?
Well, it's here and there. Right now,
Salisbury,
there's a bunch in Lawrence. They're going to be building in Hamilton soon. Haverhill's going to have a place, but probably not for another year or so. But I'll talk to the supervisors and see.
Yeah, find out first and then.
Where does it go? VZ?
Yeah,
If somebody could send me an actual location where they could dump it off,
yep.
then, because VZ's a big place.
Well, it's right next to Lucille's cottage, you know where
Well,
Lucille's.
nobody outside of Groveland knows what Lucille's Cottage is. But if I had a map with a X marks the spot, I could say, dump your cardboard here, boys.
Yep. Okay. Let me see also, while you're checking on that, let me check how much they've actually got right now and how much they actually might need.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, last thing they need is a
we
big pile of wet,
Yeah, right.
decayed cardboard.
Exactly.
Yep. I've also dug up from my lawn about 50 or 60 or maybe more little oak trees, many of which will live, that I'm setting aside for this project.
I have a bunch too.
Yeah,
You gotta dig them up.
No, I know, but I've
And if
been
you get
keeping
into
an eye
year,
out.
you get into year two and they don't live. They set those tap roots down and you try to transplant them and they say, nope, that's enough of that. You gotta get them when they're about 3 inches tall.
It might be
Well-
late, but I can look.
Diane is away, she'll be back after the 4th of July, so I'll,
Yeah, I've been in touch with
Let her
Stephanie.
know.
We'll get them to rest somewhere.
but we'll see if Diane wants to use them or if we want to put them somewhere else. Okay. The trail work, last month I told you about Jim Lafferty's work on the Meadow Pond Trail, so he's been still working on that, looking at some of the trails in Town Forest and Center Street Greenway. And he put together an estimate on some repair work that needs to be done to the Meadow Pond bridges, so I will be putting some kind of cost estimate in how much we're gonna buy for the new fiscal year. and see where we can go with that. It's not that much money, but there's, some of those bridges are starting to
They're
deteriorate.
getting a little sketchy.
Yeah, they've stood up pretty well, but there's a few boards on them that definitely need to be replaced.
Amazing old Ironsides lasted as long as it did.
Yes, yes.
If they were made out of granite, the bridges would be fine.
They would be fine, yep. Old Ironsides wouldn't be doing so well, but
Yeah.
So Mike, just to that point, now I know Annie went out with one class and I went out with another, fourth grade. Yeah, I think it looked great, and the bridges, yeah, it's just sort of spot fixing. They were actually in pretty good shape.
just a
Oh, and I
couple
met your
places where you can
grandson.
fall through.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a good idea to let them just degrade.
Well, especially in winter time, when you can't, and they get a little bit of snow cover on them, you can't tell where you're gonna
Yeah.
put your leg right through it.
Yes. Okay. Next on the agenda are annual appointments. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 motions here to make, but the first one is a motion to appoint the chair of the commission. So,
I would like to move that Mike Dempsey be chairman for the fiscal year 2023-2024.
well, I only want to do it if nobody else wants it.
Oh, we know
I
that.
second that.
You sure no one else? Bill, you don't want it, do you?
I was going to amend Terry's motion to say in perpetuity.
No, we can't do that. Please.
Does anybody know if Fred or Stephanie, does anybody know if, Fred, do you want to do it, or does anybody know if Stephanie would be interested?
I don't think Stephanie wants to do it right now. I'm hoping eventually she might want
Got
to
a
do it.
groomer.
I don't believe my mic's working right now. Wait a minute. Let that go.
All right, so there's a motion.
You made a motion to appoint me as chair of the commission?
Yes, I did.
Second.
I seconded it.
Okay, second.
Unanimous seconds.
Any questions on that? Comments? I will accept it. That's my comment.
Are we voting, or?
Yes.
Aye.
All in favor?
Well, roll call. Aye.
Yes. Terry?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Mike, yes. Fred? Yes.
Climbing over each
And
other.
Bill.
to say
Aye.
aye.
Yes, right.
Faster it happened.
Okay. Next is a motion to appoint the vice chair of the commission. So I'll make a motion to appoint Stephanie Bartelt as vice chair of the commission
Second.
for July 1 to June 30, 2024.
Second.
Any questions on that one? No. All in favor? Terry?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Mike, yes. Bill?
Aye.
And
Aye.
Fred? Yeah, thank you.
Gotta time it.
Next is a motion to, make a motion to authorize the chair to sign for the commission from July 1 this year to June 30, 2024.
Second.
Standard one. We'll vote on it then. Terry,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Mike, yes. Bill,
Aye.
and Fred.
Aye.
Unanimous. Motion to appoint Annie Schindler as conservation agent for administration and wetland protection duties for the commission from July 1 of this year to June 30, 2024.
Second.
Any discussion on this?
How much of her time are we gonna get?
Just what's contributed to my Essex retirement or my smart plan? Because one's more than the other.
Do we have any budget considerations that we need to take into account?
Related to this motion?
Yeah.
Well, the town just gave everybody a raise, so
My salary's not coming from the fees anymore.
Yeah, right.
that's what
Plus,
you're
we're not
getting at.
paying from the fees. It's paid for by the town, totally by the town budget.
Okay,
So that's good.
that's good. Are we going to get enough? It seems like there's a lot of stuff going on. Are we going to be, do we need more help?
Well,
Or
we
should we
do-
discuss this some other time?
Well, we can, but right now, we do have, Danny's still working under conservation for part-time stuff, right?
She will be until the end of the fiscal year.
Oh, only till the end of the
Well, that's
fiscal
2
year.
more
And then
weeks.
we'll be, no, I realize, we're looking for someone else. The funds still exist in the budget, voted on at town meeting as part of the operating budget. It doesn't come out of the fees. I was hoping in the new fiscal year, the way the fee account had previously been functioning, we didn't have access to it throughout the year, but we will this time. As you'll notice, you don't have minutes to approve on this agenda because I don't have the time to really do them anymore. So I'm hoping that now the way the revolving account works now, I'll be able to have a consultant or someone.
out.
Exactly. Because it takes a significant amount of time to put them
Right.
together, and it's difficult to take the notes while I'm also trying to do all of this. So in that sense, more help in addition to the administrative assistant that I already have, yeah.
Yeah, if you
But-
can spend your time focusing on actual activities that
Yeah.
are pushing back the frontiers of wetland protection, then, and somebody else can do the administrative stuff
Yeah.
that doesn't require that kind of involvement, then there we go.
Yeah, yeah, so, and that is something that fits into the parameters of what we can use the money we receive from the fees on. So in that regard, yes, I guess, but that's something that I was planning for anyway. And I mean, with planning and zoning too, I can't do those minutes either anymore, it's too busy, but
Yep.
that would be out of that budget, not the conservation fee budget. But that's gonna be next fiscal year figuring that out, because one department having the different budgets like that just is confusing and doesn't really benefit anyone. But that's a next fiscal year discussion,
All right,
because that wouldn't mess with the fee receipts, like the
Alright.
receipts we get from fees, but again,
Okay, let's take a vote on this one. Terry?
aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Mike, yes. Bill?
Aye.
Fred? Okay,
This
unanimous.
thing just blinked, but.
yeah, I saw that too.
Unanimous. Next motion is motion to appoint Vanessa Lopez, Doug Soper, and Carol Funchen as agents with responsibility for VZ Park Director and Events Management, Buildings and Grounds Management, and Marketing and Programming respectively from July 1 of this year to June 30 of 2024.
Second.
There's nothing new here. These are all people that are currently doing those jobs. Any other questions on this one? Seeing none, we'll take a vote. Terry?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Mike, yes. Bill?
Aye.
And
Aye.
Fred? Thank you.
Fred's back.
Unanimous. And finally, a motion to appoint Mike Dempsey as the commission representative to the Community Preservation Committee from July 1 of this year to June 30, 2024.
Second.
Any questions on this one? I would give this one up if somebody wants to do it, but again, it's another work job. Terry?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Mike, yes. Bill?
Aye.
Fred?
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay, thank you, everyone. Next on the agenda is an update from Annie.
Excuse me, not a whole lot. One main thing, I received a email from the Department of Fish and Wildlife regarding ATVing that was going on behind Federal Way. That is jurisdictional for them as far as wetlands, but also habitat for endangered species. They have some, I don't know if they're citizen scientists or if they're Fish and Game employees or Fish and Wildlife employees, but regardless, people were noticing ATV tracks near habitat that they had created back there. It was found out that there was someone renting out ATVs from a location in Federal Way. Where the ATVs are actually ATVing is not in Groveland. It's in Georgetown. So that's kind of,
But the source of the ATVs is
the
Groveland.
source of the ATVs is Groveland, so I'm talking to our zoning enforcement officer to kind of see if, from that perspective, we can help in any way.
Yeah, if they have a permit to do a rental business, I would,
No. you
right,
don't.
that's,
Yeah, you don't need a permit for that, so
oh, you don't?
Was that Bill, sorry, did you say something?
Or Fred?
No.
Bill or
it
Fred,
Fred?
did you guys say something?
Nope.
Oh, okay. So again, I need to talk to Sam as he's like kind of the one who defines the definitions, but that would kind of be considered like a small retail, I would think, and that doesn't require a permit through the zoning board or planning board. So again, that's why I need to talk to Sam because he's the one who kind of makes those determinations. So yeah, just an update. That's kind of really the only way I can see Groveland kind of helping with the issue.
How do they get from the rental location to the area of activity?
It's
It ti-
open.
It ties right in.
What's open? I mean, who owns that land? Somebody somewhere owns the land.
National Grid, I believe, owns it.
National Grid.
Yep.
Yeah, it's basically the right-of-way of all the power lines there.
Okay, so they could be brought in to, set up some no trespassing signs or something.
Yes.
If they don't want activity, well, and I can't picture them wanting a potential lawsuit on
Right.
their property. Somebody
No.
flips one of these things, breaks their neck, well, it's National Grid's fault, right?
Yeah, from my understanding, Fish and Wildlife is in communication with National Grid because of the habitat that's there. So I assume they have contacts there. But again, it's Georgetown, it's not
Right,
Groveland,
right.
so
We're just the source.
we're the source, yeah, which is why, from my thinking, the only kind of mechanism we would have to be able to really help is from the zoning perspective. So looking into that, but that's what's been kind of going on that I've been hearing from, like, in and around town. Excuse me. The other thing, which is not necessarily kind of circling back to what we were discussing before, there has been some discussion, I believe, on Facebook, but also people talking to Sam about, so as you guys are aware, kind of the internal procedure with building permits and conservation has changed a little. Sam is sending me basically everything that it's external. And that's obviously flagging a lot more. 119 Center Street is the perfect example for it. It has some residents very concerned about it, I guess, is the best way to put it. Sam's gotten a lot of questions and concerns about it. He used to work in Newbury, which has Plum Island, obviously, so he's very familiar with, dealing with conservation commission agents and things like that. And he was mentioning that in Newbury for things like sidings, roofing, and sidings, yeah, no, it's just sidings and roofing, external stuff, that's sidings and roofing, that the commission granted the agent authority to approve those with kind of the caveat of, if you're not an idiot, it won't be a problem type thing. Not in the sense that, when a permit comes to me, I had the ability to send a comment through Permit Link So kind of just your home is within jurisdiction, ensure that there's daily cleanups, ensure there's no, like, whether it's shingles, whatever, flying off into the wetlands, be mindful, ABC, XYZ, to just send out to everyone, or send out to anyone who would file for something like that, and to allow the agent to just process those. He just said that that's what they used to do in Newbury, because obviously, again, Plum Island, the entire island is jurisdiction, basically.
So we used to sign off every single building permit way back when, and then we stopped.
We
and-
would sign off saying it's not in our jurisdiction
right.
if it was not in our jurisdiction, but we saw everyone, well, not everyone, but
No, we.
no, there were a lot of swimming pools that.
We were supposed to see every single one,
Yeah,
let's put it
it
that
was-
way.
it was up to the building inspector at the time whether those got submitted to us, but there were quite a few swimming pools that got.
Well, yes.
Without,
Originally, we signed off on every single permit that he issued. If you recall, he had his sign-off sheet.
Yeah, the list that, yeah.
Right,
Yep.
and then town council said, oh, no, you can't use that. And so then he stopped sending that, and then he just would send us people who he thought we should be interested in what they were doing.
yeah, it was kind of haphazard. Anyway, so what's the proposal?
I just spoke to Sam about it today, so I haven't really thought about it, kind of beyond wanting to bring it to your attention, but it's not me signing off saying it's not jurisdictional. I do that already. It's me saying that, yes, this is jurisdictional, but you're not filling, dredging, or altering a wetland, but the work you're performing is within wetland jurisdiction, so like, don't be an idiot about it by going, like, making sure you're cleaning up every day,
Right,
making sure
right.
you're.
And most homeowners don't want shingles, even if it's in the wetlands, in their property, they don't want shingles and pieces
Yeah,
of siding
and-
sitting there anyway, so.
Yeah, and so like for 119 Center Street, like, from my understanding, like, the gentleman doing the roof said that there is a small leak. And so that way, legally, Sam can't withhold people from protecting their property. So if someone has a leaking roof, it doesn't matter if they're gonna get Conservation Commission approval or Sam's approval, they're gonna approve it. They're gonna do it, and legally, we can't.
Right.
We have no standing, and for things like this, like, I know for 119 Center Street, they were waiting a long time because they were waiting for conservation approval, but it's to just ensure that people aren't waiting around to do very necessary work to their homes. It's not like they're,
All right, so you may come to us next meeting with a little better defined
well, I mean, it's not
procedure
even,
that you'd like to put in place.
well, we can do that, I don't want to put in the effort of putting that together if it's not something the commission wants to entertain at all.
I would like to entertain it.
Okay.
Well-
Yeah, so what I'd like to make sure, though, is, like, 119 and 172 are perfect examples. You have people who are playing by the rules and come to us ahead of time, and then you have people, not the current owners of 172, but the previous owner who was unaware, thought they were doing the right thing because they went and got a permit, everything was cool, but they did some significant-ish work within 100 feet that we were not aware of. So,
Including this paving.
yeah, so I guess I'd like to why did town council way back when say we can't sign off on every building permit, or we can't be part of the approval process? Because we used to do that
Part of
weekly, we
what-
would sit here.
Part of what I
But-
said,
Annie is saying that we aren't allowed to hold somebody up, for a home repair.
for
because-
like protecting their property.
Yeah, yeah.
But there's a difference between replacing a couple shingles because I have a leak versus redoing the whole roof. And I get that. I mean, there's like, that's an emergency repair. I understand that, but that's not necessarily saying, to protect the home is not necessarily redoing the whole roof. Financially, it might make better sense to just do the whole roof instead of having them
piece
do
here,
a little piece here and there, but.
But Annie, because of permit link, you really get to see all the permits that are issued, and you can comment on any of them that you want to, right? Yeah. So that's still happening.
Right, but I guess what's the mechanism, if Annie says, yeah, this is jurisdictional, what is the mechanism?
Well, then Annie says, puts in there that they've got to file.
Yeah,
But-
it wouldn't preclude all projects from filing. It would simply be the ones where, like, only because we heard it tonight, for 119 Center Street. If it's something that the commission wants to entertain, this could be kind of the poster child. Your home is within jurisdiction of a resource area. Because of the level of work proposed in this application, you are not required to file a permit. If you abide by these, like, daily cleanups after siding or roofing, storage is on driveway or pervious or impervious pavement, or whatever,
Or in a
whatever.
dumpster.
Yeah, whatever it is. If the work changes, you may have to file with the commission. Please contact me below,
So
or at
you-
the information, or at the whatever below.
So you're saying, for example, 119, instead of doing a GRDA, you would have just written those words? And
Or
we would
some-
not make them file?
That's what Newbury did.
Because that's a,
Yeah,
I'd rather
If you
reduce
start
fees.
if you start trying to put out long explanations, they're up for interpretation and confusion. And people will say, well, I read it as I didn't have to come in front of you.
right.
Well, the homeowner that said, it's not a problem.
Yeah, and I mean, that property across the street here, way back when someone's just gonna clean up the garbage, turned into a, excavation and, so,
So we don't need to decide tonight.
Yeah, we
Just
need
think
to
about
just
this.
think about it.
Annie's just throwing it out there.
And I think our message is, yeah, we'd like to streamline things. It's a classical analytical chemistry case of, we don't want any false positives, but we don't want any false negatives. So, but if there's something that can, 99% of the time, we do the right thing, then that may just be good enough, because that's probably better than what we're doing right now.
Yeah, I think it's just, there are going to be a lot more of these because of the new kind of internal mechanisms that we're using with PermitLink,
Right.
and that we're going to have a lot of very angry people.
So what we're going to want, I think, is come up with some boilerplate for basically in those cases where there isn't going to be a problem, just say it's not a problem in conservation terms. If there's going to be, simplify it, make it non-threatening, and,
Well,
is it,
this would be two things different than what we're doing now. Number one, we wouldn't require the people to file, so
Right.
we're eliminating any fees that they would pay, which, it's $100, it's not that significant a fee. The other thing is, we are giving over to our agent the ability to do what we would normally do with a GRDA, is listen to what they're saying, maybe you look at it and you say, oh, okay, just make sure you keep the flying debris away from the wetlands.
Right.
And maybe she puts that in writing. So those are the two differences, and do we want to do those two things?
is the worry the money or the time?
From my understanding from people, it's the money, the time mostly as well, and then also people find it completely unnecessary when they're not touching the ground. They're not putting a shovel in the ground to put in siding or put in a new roof. And it also
Where
does.
we have a boilerplate
Yeah.
response.
I think that's basically it, which I
And we just
understand.
make a global decision on these things rather than a case-by-case decision. right?
Yeah,
Where
we
just say,
could.
whenever this circumstance, and this circumstance are in effect, then we tell them to go right ahead and just don't make a mess. If this one is not in effect, then you do this. If this one's not in effect, you do this. You know, just a bit decision tree. And, you know, try to make it non-threatening. I mean, people don't like being told what they can do in their property.
Yeah, I
So,
mean,
so I'm going to need some time to just kind of digest this, because I'm thinking, you know, where we come to somebody needs a new roof because it's, you know, 20 years old, versus somebody who's got a, you know, tree through that punctured their
Right,
roof or something
right.
like that. So I'm going to have to think about this rather than try and solve it here.
So, just to, I guess a little bit of context, way back when I did some work on the house, this is going back 30-something years, I remember I had to drive to the fire chief's house or place of business to get a signature before I could get a building permit.
yeah.
So the point is, unless you had incredible flexibility with your time, between the finance director sign off, you probably had to spend a week or two on your own just getting signatures before you could even go to the building inspector. And if I understand what you're saying, it seems like people now, they want to be able to go online, do something, and 5 minutes later have a permit? Is that the
Well,
desire?
it's not 5 minutes later. It's if someone gets me an application 2 days after our meeting, they have to wait a full month to do their work, is part of it. And then it's
Right.
also, I think, I mean, we are able to do things faster now because of the internet, and also you have staff who's here. I mean, I'm technically only conservation like the third half of the time, but you have someone here every day, basically, who can sit here and review it. You're not having to drive to the fire chief's house.
Or wait until
wherever.
Monday for sign-offs.
Or wait until
Right.
once a week for Monday for sign-offs, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm all for not making it a lot of time, I guess, then policy. I guess I have an issue with, for years and years, we've told people you have to do things a certain way, and now someone who did some work 2 years ago and had to spend a bunch of money and wait for a hearing, now all of a sudden,
Well,
But I mean, things are always gonna change
All right,
like
We
now,
can
now we're
change
back, now we're
them.
back to student loans. I had to pay off my student loan, so I want everybody else to pay off their student loans. And you can't go with that. You have to go with what makes sense.
yeah, no, but, you can, well, the nice thing about the GRDA is it's a formal letter.
yeah, and
It's
it's.
specific, and we can talk back and forth about, oh, you can do X, Y, and Z, and please look out for these things.
The way Permit Link works is that because, I mean, with building permits especially, not when you're just like doing something easy, but like for big projects, it's all time-stamped and encrypted, so if I send something to them, they can't be like, oh, I never got it. If you pull up Permit Link, their building permit, it's like
there.
tied to it.
Right.
It doesn't just like disappear, I guess, if that's like, you're kind of worried with the formal letter thing. Like, even though I'm just like sending a comment via Permit Link, it is very much
mean-
recorded, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know what the solution is. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we just want people to do the right thing. And I guess what I'm saying by the letter, like, there's something, I guess it's no different than having comments on Permit Link.
I mean,
Yeah,
if you're looking as far as like permanence, I guess. Because it's not like the letter gets recorded at the registry and like attached to the deed.
Just to be safe, have Permit Link charge $100 conservation fee for every permit, regardless. Then we won't have to worry about missing fees.
I'm not worried about the fees myself, but
Yeah, now that my salary doesn't come out of the fees, it's
Well,
still,
the question I have is really, how often does this come up?
Right.
I don't frankly, I don't remember the last time we had something like this, like 119 Center.
yeah, I've had plenty of roofing and siding permits that I've signed off on, but they've all not been jurisdictional.
Yeah,
Like, they've
right.
been 100%
Right.
outside of the buffer zone, but it's not like people aren't
No, yeah,
building
so,
them.
you know, I mean, the fact that somebody complained about this particular one, you know, well,
Can't please everybody all the time.
right.
No. But
But
again,
anyway,
But yeah, if you've got any suggestions, we're
Yeah.
not going to dismiss them.
no, Sam I was speaking to him about, it came up today because he heard someone else griping about it. And he mentioned that in Newbury, that's how they process these, because again, with Plum Island, the entire thing is,
Yep.
you know, so, I thought I'd bring it to the commission's attention. I can put together like a boilerplate type thing if, and distribute it. Obviously, understanding that it might just be dead in the water upon review.
Right,
but
right. We're not saying we're going
Just
to.
so that it's something to look at a little more solidly than me just bringing it up.
Can we make it a policy to do a GRDA virtually, like via email? Does it have to be?
yeah, but it's still the timing, you know.
Yeah, and you
If you
can't
wanted to
vote
do
on,
something next week and you gotta wait.
you have to, if you have to vote on something at a public meeting.
But I guess.
I mean, they could do it
We'd have
now.
to change our bylaws,
No,
but
but people could come into our meeting now. We could allow people to come in.
Yeah, because the only things that require, so this is something I was gonna maybe write up something for next meeting. RDAs and GRDAs are not technically public hearings. They just have to be an agenda item on a public meeting. They don't have to be a formal public hearing, like a notice of intent.
Just have to be published.
They have to be published as an agenda item, but it's not like a formal public hearing.
so could we do these virtually? I'm just, whatever, everybody, like, you send something out, we all have 24 hours to respond, and then at the next meeting, we say, here's what was decided upon, so it's public and people know.
No, you can't make any votes
Yeah,
unless
that
it's at
turns into
a,
the open
Yeah, we
meeting
absolutely cannot do that.
violation. Believe me, that will,
yeah, that's, because,
we will all lose our,
So how does West Newbury, or Newbury do it then? If they allow the
The agent
agents?
just
because
does
the
it.
board votes to authorize the agent to do that.
So
Just like
isn't
we've
that, so you're, and I'm just trying to understand, but isn't that the same as saying, well, instead of having meetings now, we're just gonna do it via email?
Well, what you're
Because-
saying
No.
This
is,
is, so,
you're being interpreting that the bylaw does not require those things to get a permit. Like, we would say, no longer do you need a permit to do roofing work within the buffer zone.
and it doesn't say within our bylaws that you need a permit for roofing. It doesn't say that anywhere.
Yeah,
So I'll also put into context, this I haven't looked into I mean, I think I saw it at one of the regional meetings that the DEP puts on. But there are some communities that allow agents to sign off on minor work without a vote of the board. So it would be kind of like instilling a bit more power within the limits that the commission votes to approve to the agent,
Right,
which is not
right.
unusual. But again,
I-
I will not be offended if you say no by any means, because that's your decision, but it's not
It's
something
more
that's
work for you.
uncommon. I wouldn't be processing, it would kind of, when I get a building permit, I'm gonna just use broadly, I process the application when I get the building permit. And then if they have to apply, I process it again as the conservation permit. So instead of having to process it twice, I'm kind of only processing it once. And again, in like the way Permit Link works, like with the boilerplate, like you can just I can scroll down and hit like roofing siding and it'll pop up the whole thing.
So Andy, if we were, as the commission to decide that we would give you that delegation of authority to approve work, we owe you guidelines on what work and in what situations we would allow you to approve.
Yes, I
Is
would
that-
say so. And again, I have not looked into this more, but I would think it would be, in this scenario, it could just be, excuse me, the agent is permitted to, I don't know, the agent's permitted
Yeah,
to
well,
sign off on like
we need-
roofing and siding
Right.
permits unless, you could say unless it is closer than, the home is closer than 25, within the 25-foot no disturb, or like, so from
Right.
between 25 feet and 100, the agent's permitted to sign off, given that they communicate the boilerplate to the homeowner. So you would have to certainly make it specific. So that,
Right.
because, you wouldn't want to,
Well,
Make it
I think more
ambiguous.
importantly, we wouldn't want to put you in a difficult position. You have to have, clearly defined boundaries of what you can and can't, or what you can and what we want to see.
agreed.
come
And
to
and I think with the understanding too, that if I ever feel as though it's not a determination, and I do this with planning and zoning all the time, if it's something that I feel like I am not, like I can't make the determination
Yeah,
on,
yeah.
I am more than happy to send it to my boards, whether they like me for it or not. Mostly that's with the planning board.
And again, this is not about Annie Schindler, it's about.
No.
It's
Because it
what
is-
should be the process.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I don't, I totally understand. Because it's something different that the commission hasn't done, at least that I'm aware of. You guys have only had an agent for the past few years.
I would say, I'm trying to think way back when we used to sign off, because there was a number of times where I would leave here and I would go to the site that was just talking about, and then I would get on the phone and say, yeah, you need to file, or no, I think you're good. When we probably could have forced the issue and made them file a GRDA. But we didn't, because the commissioner looked at it and made the decision that
Yeah,
whatever.
well-
It's a 90 feet away, and it's like a roof.
It's like
But see,
a corner of the house. or-
but that's what the RDA process is. What is an RDA? Request for Determination of Applicability. It's the ability to ask a question and get a formal answer on it. That's what it is, right?
Right.
So either we say, yes, go ahead and do it, or no, you got to file a notice of intent with us. So a GRDA is a little less formal because it
Procedurally
only
formal.
goes with our bylaw stuff. And so what this would do is make it even a little less formal for very certain particular things like roofing and siding.
It seems to me like a GRDA would never be filed moving forward,
Well, right, because
mean-
that's right.
which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
No, but I think we need GRDAs.
if it's someone putting in a shed, though, that would still come to the commission. It's roofing and siding, because those, again, my personal opinion, it's projects that aren't touching the ground. Like, if someone was putting in a shed 90 feet from the wetland, they would still have to file. That's a GRDA, though.
Right.
Like, if like a pool, like a corner of a pool is 90 feet away, they would still have to file. I don't think a GRDA would become, we see them all the time for things that don't
Oh,
have
yeah.
anything to do with roofing or siding.
No, I'm not saying we should get rid of them or
Oh,
anything
okay.
else. I'm just saying that, just defining what they are.
I understand.
That's all I meant.
Yeah.
But, I just think we should think about it. you
No,
know?
I'm for it. I want to say, I almost wonder, way back when, roofing, I think we were much more, oh, you're just doing a roof? Fine, just go do it. Make sure you don't make a mess.
Well, we would sign off on the permit unless
Right.
there
So
was
we-
some overriding issue, like it was very close to the wetlands, or, there was slope right down to the wetlands, you know.
All right, so I think we all agree, we want Annie to look into this a little bit more, come up with something that will help make her life a little bit more efficient and be of service to the townspeople as well as us.
I'll get a boilerplate together and get it out before the next meeting.
Sounds good.
Annie, if you want some help, I'll help.
Okay, awesome. I'll write that down.
If you can get some specifics from Sam, meaning like just, is it usually roofing? Is it one person who just lost it on them and got really upset? Or is it a trend of, window replacement, for example?
Yeah, I think it was roofing, siding, window, on Newbury, he said it was roofing, siding, window, and it would be the, don't be an idiot, more formally.
Yeah,
But-
I'm just curious, because you said a lot of people in town are complaining. It's like,
Yeah, I've heard
what are they
it from a
complaining
couple
about?
different folks.
Yeah, but they were complaining about this particular thing. That's what they were complaining about.
Well, you also get people who complain about the fact that there's any bylaws.
Yes,
so
right,
I-
exactly, so.
That's why
I don't think we really want to be too open to complaints.
Yeah, I just want to try and fix the problem, if there is a problem. But
Do you have any other items, Annie?
I do have some for other items not reasonably anticipated.
Go ahead.
Okay.
So anything under, that kind of fell into a good open discussion. Any other things, questions anyone have for open discussion? Okay,
Do you want me to?
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so, I'll start with 8 Cherry Tree Lane. They were doing a deck. It's done. They filed their certificate of compliance. I went out, I reviewed the as-built, compared it to the proposed. They were actually able to pull things back like a foot or two away from the wetlands, the deck, and then they put in a shed, and the shed was a little closer or farther away. And then I went out and took a look at it. Everything was stabilized around where they put in the footings for the deck. And then the shed was on the concrete slabs like they were supposed, or concrete blocks like they were supposed to be. So all set, just needs signatures on that.
do you have it here tonight?
I do. Do you want me to pass it around now, or do you want me to? Okay.
We can multitask.
Hey, Bill, can you sign remotely?
Oh, right.
I can swing by tomorrow if the town hall if needed.
9 a.m. Friday.
Not AM Friday, tomorrow morning. Well, I need to know when it's open. I went last Friday to get sworn in, and she wasn't there.
I'll be, I think, I'll be in at 8 tomorrow. And that's when the office is unlocked, or the town hall's unlocked anyway.
Yeah, no, I'm not worried about the signing. It was,
Okay.
it was the getting sworn in from,
The town clerk will actually be out on a conference from 11 to 3 tomorrow if you were looking to
So,
kill 2 birds
can
with
I-
1 stone.
come early.
Yeah, she'll be, I think she gets in at 9, so she'll be here from 9 to 11, and then she's headed out.
Okay.
For her
I'll
conference.
swing by.
And then the only other thing was that a couple days ago, I received the correspondence. That was the very last thing in your meeting packet. That was not within your meeting packet. It was just the very last letter. Just received that. It was addressed to everyone.
So, no, I appreciate the effort the kids put in and the concern. I guess, there's the whole 40B thing.
Thank you very
But-
much.
Yeah,
Anyways.
that's referring to a 40B, which really.
So that's actually Civil Street?
Yeah.
Yeah, yep.
And that harbor filling, wasn't that from like 30 years ago?
No, that was
No, that was,
about
Yeah,
a
no.
year and a half ago, I
No,
would say.
He's talking about the fill that was put in there a long time ago.
From the big dig.
Oh.
All the
Back
clay.
in the
But
90s.
I remember, I got an email from someone, I've been in Groveland for almost 2 years now, and I got a email from someone complaining about the fill, that it had shells in it.
Yeah. that's
It was
been
new
going on
fill.
for like 25 years.
Oh.
Aggregate did that.
Yeah, that was way before, way before any of this.
Before any of us were on the board.
That's true. We'll have to pull Joe in for a walk down memory lane.
Yes, right.
He's got all the documents.
Yes.
But,
That's okay.
You know, they're worried about the turtle habitat, and when there were kids riding ATVs like crazy out there, they were probably killing more turtles than this development is displacing them, so.
Yeah, so they wrote us a letter. We
Yeah.
appreciate it. And
It's very
I'm
well
fine with it
written
fostering,
for
but
third
I
graders.
think that, I don't think we owe them a response, but if we do, we would certainly thank them and say that we are doing our utmost. I mean, there's how many acres have been created for and cordoned off for the turtles?
Oh, I just looked at it the other day, too.
It was significant.
Yeah, we just
I just looked
completed
at it.
an
I can't remember.
8-acre mitigation area over there
Right.
at Center Street, so I think we are doing the best we can.
Yeah.
We're doing stuff. I don't know if it's the best we
Yeah.
can do, but we're doing things.
Yeah, and I mean, it's, Misa is making them track all the turtles on the site.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, I know.
Yeah, and I think we owe them now that I think of it, we owe them a response.
Yeah.
And to tell them some of the things we are doing, and we appreciate their concern, because it's our concern. And when they get older, they'll understand the compromises that everybody has to make. But I think,
There's a
it would be
good-
good to
there's a
tell them
good
some of the
chance-
stuff.
What,
Go ahead.
Terry?
There's a good chance that they already live in houses, and when they're talking about not wanting any more development, well,
Yeah.
it gets kind of, I got mine, yeah. One
Right,
thing
Andy,
we do
that's-
need to address, I think, is it's sort of a request, an appeal, whatever, allow the PRCWA to monitor the nesting site. I don't know how that's going to go over.
Well, they've already been involved in this, Parker River.
Parker River has,
And
is there communication?
I suspect a lot of this came from them.
You think so?
Yes,
The
I
kids
think
didn't
so.
write this?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, wow, okay.
So I'm with Bill that we should give a response.
Yeah.
My only concern would be that the kids are leaving like tomorrow or the next day,
I know, right?
and they're not, because it would be good if they actually got a response to realize, there is a lot of stuff being done.
When I told the teacher that I got this last night, I think, when I told the teacher that we had a meeting today and I'd add it to your meeting packets for review, she was like, that's great, I'll let the kids know. So I think, even if, I'm sure, quite frankly, like, what are they, third graders? I'm sure they have emails. So I'm sure the teacher could send them out.
I think it's still a good idea for me to write a response.
I mean, depends on how quickly you can get it together, but
I think, but you know what? Even if it's waiting for them when they hit fourth grade.
Yeah, right.
I think-
yeah.
Yeah, if the teacher can send it out, that's a good point. They probably do have emails with the families. If the teacher can send it out, even if it's a month from now,
Yeah.
then I think it's worth it. If it's one of those,
If it's one
spend
of
a
the
bunch-
8th grade civic projects that I got 5 emails for, and I was like, okay, this is what you got to do, and no follow-up. They just need me to respond to their email for their project, so
I'll try to put something together as soon as possible.
I have beef with the 8th grade civic
Yeah, I
project.
can already write the letter in my head. It's really a matter of getting it on.
Putting it on a piece of paper.
Yeah, so Annie, just get the teacher's email tomorrow, right? If you don't
Yes.
have her.
Yeah. I have the teacher's email, and
Oh,
I'll,
okay.
if, yeah, and I can communicate, and if, I'll be in touch with them tomorrow and say that we're trying to write up a letter, when's your last day of school, just to give us a bit of context.
Yeah.
If you
it'll-
tell them if they're not careful, they might end up on conservation commission somewhere. They better watch their step.
I think you only have to be 18.
That'll happen sooner than they think.
Okay, so our next, discussion on our next meeting. So what I would like to propose is that we do this, start scheduling 2 meetings a month, but if we don't need one of them, then we'll eliminate it, at least no later than the previous meeting. So tonight, you know, I would say we schedule a meeting
The
for
28th,
the 28th, July 12th, and July 26th. And if we don't need the 26th of July meeting by July 28th, 12th, I mean, we would cancel it.
Sounds good.
that seems reasonable, and since there are 6 of us, and we would have to vote on that,
Sorry, I'll let you finish your thought. I have something else to say.
if there's a good chance that we might be able to cancel some of these meetings.
Yeah, I agree. The only request, Annie, would be if somebody is coming in to talk about something that they're not even going to think about starting for 6 months, and that's the only meeting for the next meeting, we should push them off.
Yeah. I think that's fair. I don't think they'd be able to get a notice of intent, even if it's a Groveland notice of intent ready. I mean, you're going there Friday. That doesn't give them enough time to get an application and notices out in time for that anyway.
Well, the good news is you're talking about September, so,
Well, what
We're-
what this would reduce is somebody having to wait, let's say, 7 to 8 weeks before they could come and present something, you know what I mean? Because,
No.
I'm all for it. I'm just saying, I don't,
Yeah.
you know, if we don't need a meeting, if we have a meeting for something that's not really timely, yeah, fine, we did it and it's done, but
it's only,
if it didn't really have to happen, that we got.
it's only for hearings that we need to,
Yeah, and again, like, we legally have to hear things in 21 days of receipt of the application. Like, or it just gets, yeah.
It's true, so we probably always, or we were in default.
We've,
oh, yeah.
if
But, you
people
know,
wanted to,
Somebody has to complain about it.
yeah,
Well, now
So-
we're gonna see the YouTube.
No, but, I mean, most people are more than happy to get the permit. They may not be happy that it took as long as it did, but they're happy they got the permit, you know?
all right, so 28th, 12th, and 26th.
Yeah.
yes, and sorry, one more thing I forgot to mention. We have a new commission member who will be joining us for the July meeting. His appointment's effective July 1st, Richard York.
Yay,
So we will be back to 7.
I don't know, but
Okay,
it's just,
Sound
no, having a 7th, just having a 7th member
Is a good
makes things a lot better.
Yes.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Aye.
Terry,
Aye.
Tom.
Aye.
Mike, yes. Bill,
Aye,
Fred.
Aye.
Okay, thank you so much.
thank you.
Thanks, Bill and Fred, for
Have a good night.
joining us.
Good night.